Hi friends, welcome to Gamer Thoughts, and today we're talking about dead games. The last year has been a huge year for live service games, MMO, multiplayer games, battle royales. We've seen a ton of great titles come out, things like New World, Lost Ark, Tower of Fantasy. With all these games, though, we've seen a fairly common trend where when they get announced, there's a lot of hype and there's a ton of brand new players trying these kinds of games that never have before. And we see players with million player concurrent player counts. And the thing about it, though, is after about a month, we see these player counts start to dip as people are trying other games, or maybe they just weren't as interested as they thought they would be. And eventually we see the conversations start in forums and online spaces, and even within game world chats of people saying, this game is dead, or, oh, this game is dying. And I wanted to talk about this and what exactly is a dead game. I see this discussion in a lot of different spaces with games that I've tried or games that my friends have tried. Particularly, a recent one that I've been playing is Tower of Fantasy. Its global launch was about a month ago, and it saw a huge stack of interest, 4 million pre-registrations, and all the servers were congested, you couldn't get in, and now it's very easy to get in, and the world chat's a lot slower than it used to be, and a lot of people have moved to Discord chats, and you don't see as many people inside the game doing content, and a lot of people have started to say, oh, this game is dead. And yet, when I hop on to play the game, I have no trouble getting into any content. I have no trouble doing any of the things that I want to do. And it made me start thinking about what really is a dead game. And I think I've come to the conclusion that I think a dead game is when the servers go down. A game might be dying before then, but once the servers go down, that's when a game is truly dead. An example of that recently is the Square Enix title Babylon's Fall. Babylon's Fall was released just barely 6 months ago, didn't have a huge player base to begin with, and shrunk down to less than 1,000 concurrent players on Steam fairly quickly. However, it limped along for about 6 months, and those people were still able to play the game, they were still able to do content, but eventually Square Enix made the call this recent week to say we are shutting down the servers for Babylon's Fall. Whether they're going to try and rework it and make it work again, or just leave the game as is yet to be seen, but that game will be dead. It will be unplayable. The servers are going offline. The difference between that and a dying game really has to do with how you interact with the game and things the devs can do. One of the big things that can make a game feel like it's dead or it's dying is the guilds you join in a game. A lot of these guilds, you'll get a group of your friends together, maybe 10, 15 people, sometimes 100 people, and at the beginning of the game, it'll feel very alive, especially for a new title, because everyone's on, everyone's playing, and as people trickle off, your guild will seem dead. And I've seen people post about this, even in Tower of Fantasy. Recently, me and a friend of mine had to decide to disband the guild that we created because it was just me and them that was still playing and everybody else had hopped off. But that's okay. Usually the first guild you join in a game isn't necessarily going to live forever, and sometimes you have to go find a new home. The other side is not just how you interact with the game, but the way the devs choose to let you interact with the game. There's a lot of things devs can do to keep a game alive. They can consolidate servers. They can create matchmaking systems. I know that's one of the things that has given longevity to a lot of long-term games I play, is that I can just hop in a matchmaking system, and within 5 minutes, I'm able to get into whatever content it is that I'm trying to do. They can also introduce bot systems and trust systems. One of the things Final Fantasy XIV, a huge MMO that still has a massive player base, is already doing is going back to old content and implementing a trust system where you can go into dungeons with NPCs, which is going to increase the longevity of the game. They also have roulette systems that have high-end players joining low-end players to do old content and help people get rewards for doing those things, which really helps as the player base shrinks on a game to continue to feel alive. And so there's lots of things that you may see your friends drop off. You may see the game not feel quite as vibrant as it once was. But I think games, as long as they're playable, are still alive. And the thing I would say about if a game you really enjoy seems to be trickling off and seems to be starting to die is enjoy it while it lasts. The truth of a live service game is no matter how popular it is and how much money it's making, they all go offline at some point. Whether that's because a sequel to them comes out or something happens where they just say, oh, we told the story that we want to tell and we're done making this game. All live service games go down eventually. So enjoy the ride while it's there. Enjoy the content, enjoy the story, enjoy the gameplay. Just because a game's dying doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be fun for you anymore. So those are my thoughts on dying games and dead games. Let me know down in the comments, have you ever had a game that you really loved that you watched die and watched the servers sunset? Or have you had the experience where you joined a group at the beginning of a game and it was popping and then you had to move to find greener pastures? I hope you're enjoying the games that you're playing right now. I hope they live a long time and you get all the fun out of them that you want. But for now, that's been this week's Gamer Thoughts. Have a good rest of your week and don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, much love.